Hello there, guys. My name is Frenzel Morales, and today I will be presenting you my Cisco Packet Tracer Network Troubleshooting Guide. So, I've constructed a troubleshooting guide that will make it systematic on how you should deal with a network that is not working correctly. It starts with subnetting and it will take it all the way down to your routes. So we will start with the basic troubleshooting guide. My basic troubleshooting guide comes with the guide and also to practice packet tracer so that you can kind of get a feel for what you're looking for when you're troubleshooting. A lot of new students don't know what to look for when something is wrong. There are times when you create a network and everything goes well, and but there will come a time to where you're gonna run into a problem, and if you don't have a way to approach the problem, it can either make you or break you. I know during skills tests, when you have a limited amount of time, most students rush, and when you rush, you tend to create problems. And if you don't have a systematic way to approach the problem, it can be a really hard time. So, this is the troubleshooting guide. It is a step by step guide, like I've mentioned, that will help you through your troubles. Um, so, one would be the first thing is subnetting. So, if you have no knowledge of how to subnet, or if you don't fully understand subnetting, it could easily be your biggest problem to your network. Because if you're not in the correct subnet, then your network will not work at all. So if you do not know how to subnet, you would just go down here to the right, and I've created a link to a video from a former CMO networking alumni that he explains how to subnet. The video will go into him explaining how he would subnet a network, and he will start off with one network address, and he will start to break it up. For the process of time, we're just going to stop right here. Next is inputting your IP address and your subnet mask or default gateway correctly. Like I said, during skills tests, when you have under an hour or 2 hours to complete a network, it makes people frantic. It rushes them. So even under normal circumstances, people can mistype a 9 for a 0 or an 8 because they're so close to each other. But you don't always go back and look at that. So this will force you to go back into all your ports and to make sure that you have the correct networks, the correct IP address and subnets and default gateways. And if you do not know how to input them correctly, I've also made another link to how you would input that information. This video starts off from the very beginning. He will go over subnetting again as well, but if you'll just skip through a certain time, and it will show you how to input those. Well, he's going to start off by making his network first, and then he will go into the CLI of each device and putting in those network addresses. Further down, we will make sure that you have the correct cables, because if you're not using the correct cables, your network will not work correctly as well. And in the real equipment, if you don't set your clock speed correctly, you might not be able to communicate to your equipment because you didn't set it correctly. And then next is are your ports connected and are they turned on? This is a problem that happens to a lot of people because you just expect your ports to be on and not have to manually turn them on. Or if you're configuring a port that was on, it is good practice to turn off the port while you're configuring it. And most people forget to turn it back on. And I've made another hyperlink to a tool that they could use to help them. And I believe this one is for the network generator tool. This is a tool that we use for to create a network with, and you just set the things that you want. You want VLANs or not, and what kind of network size you would like. And you just click on it, and you can see the commands that you would need and how to assign them. And this is, like I said, this is for more of a basic network. This would be like the bare minimum of knowledge that you would need to get a network going, because you should already have the knowledge. This is more of an aid or a supplement to that, so that you know what you need to accomplish just in case you skipped a step or missed a step. And it also comes with its own packet tracer for practice. And later on, I will attach a video of I had 2 students go through my program and use the guide. Minimize this for now. So right here would be the part 2 of my basic troubleshooting program. Is the skills integration. I've made a packet tracer that is a basic 2-tier network, and I've implemented mistakes that students make that are very simple. And like I said earlier, I do have two students go through, they're gonna be going through the packet tracer later on in the video while utilizing the guide. Now, the second half of my guide is the more advanced guide. This guide is for students that are more into a intermediate level in networking where they're using more of the harder protocols. For example, they use OSPF for their routing protocol. And this just doesn't go in depth, but just reminds students about things that they should look for while they're using OSPF. So if they have no adjacencies on their routers, they want to make sure if their subnet again is correct. Um, just another reminder that one of the mistakes that people make is they don't make their LANs as /30s instead of putting 252 at the instead of using 252 at the end, they would sometimes put 0 because that's what they're used to when they're making their networks. And again, it takes them to another guide. And then, are they in the same area? You have to make sure that when you're making your OSPF, they have to be in the same area. If not, they will not communicate to each other. And if not, you just click on the link again. And I have this one to where it skips directly into where he's making the OSPF area and network command. And we'll go further down. So when you're using OSPF, you don't use a subnet mask. You would use a wildcard mask. And I've had problems with it before as well because I wouldn't know what wildcard mask I should be using. I've put another link to how to figure out your wildcard mask through another video. And I believe this person does a really good job on explaining how the wildcard mask works. And it's not a long video, it's about 6 minutes long, which just gives you enough time to either jog your memory or learn it completely. And then that is it for OSPF. After that, I have STP. STP is required when you are making a redundant network for the more advanced classes. I know in one of our more advanced class, you are required to make a network similar to a school environment or a small business. With that network, you're required to use STP to make your redundant for your redundancy. so that you are just not flooded. And then we go down, so it will again ask you, did you set up STP on the correct VLAN? And did you assign this the right route to the bridge? If not, again, I made another video. Not made, but I've linked another video on how to do that. And the videos I picked are not a lot of them are long. Most of them are fairly short and gets to the point mostly, so that you can get back on track on what you were doing. And making sure your ports are on the correct mode. If they're access, they need to be access ports. If they're trunk, they need to be trunking. And then you have to make sure you're using the same STP mode for all the switches. And if you're having a problem with that, I made another video. Not made, but I've linked another video again for those different protocol. It'll also go in and explain to you which one you would probably use for the type of network that you have. And then I have another one for Ether channel. So, not everybody knows how to use Ether channel. It's actually a great tool if you have ports that you're not using, and it will make your network more efficient and it will give you more bandwidth for your network. And I believe this guide is very simple. And again, here's the link for Ether channel, and it explains on how to use it and the concept. Did you make sure they're all in the same group? You'll have to group your ports to use Ether channel. And you have to make sure that they're in the right mode: desirable, passive, auto, or active. And I've also made another, this one's an advanced skill integration. So this network is made to utilize all those different protocols. So there's Ether channel configured here, and on the other side, it's not configured. OSPF routing, and I believe there's also STP. And with this one, on the last troubleshooting skills integration, I did not add a solution, because if you follow the guide, you can easily fix the network. But for this one, it's a little bit more difficult. So this would be the solution packet tracer, where everything works, so they can see their how the network's supposed to be. And it also comes with a Word doc with all the commands that were needed to make the network correct work and correct. But overall, this is a great tool to use for different occasions. So I know that when you learn subnetting and configuring ports, you forget that skill if you don't use it often. And then later on, you're asked to recall the previous knowledge. This is just one really great tool to jog your memory so that you don't have to think so hard about stuff. And it makes it so that, like I said before, you have a systematic approach to things and that you're just not poking around and seeing what's wrong with your network. It's better to like have a plan and to go by your plan than randomly trying to figure out what's wrong because sometimes it could be something so simple as a port not being turned on or port not even being plugged